So this is the last Bodhidharma talk from me, but there is a Bodhidharma festival weekend coming up, I think in June, so there'll be plenty of time for people to talk more about Bodhidharma. This is the wake-up sermon. We did the bloodstream last week, and the one I'm not talking about is the breakthrough sermon, because that's the one that's on in our liturgy books for the Bodhidharma litany. So there are other times in the coming year when people can ask more questions about Bodhidharma. So last week I talked about Bodhidharma's thesis that everything that appears in the three realms comes from real mind. And so Buddhas teach mind to mind. Mind is the Buddha. It is our Buddha nature. So today I'll say something rather briefer than other talks about Bodhidharma's wake-up sermon, which encouraged us to be detached and free from appearances. He says, detachment enables us to use everything, including greed, hatred, and delusion, without expressing these three poisons to the detriment of ourselves and others. He goes on to say, Buddhas have only become Buddhas while living with the three poisons and nourishing themselves with the pure Dharma. Learning to be free from appearances, we can be impartial. Thus we can look on suffering as no different from nirvana. I'm saying if we don't learn to live to be free from appearances, then our doing, fixing mind gets to the end of what it can accomplish and becomes the problem rather than the solution. And that's useful too. It takes us to an edge. This is inverted commas, edge. A place of uncertainty, of feeling there is absolutely nothing solid to rely on. An edge that demands we let go of our small, terrified selves, and the terror that our small self feels, almost as if our personalities are unraveling. And probably they are. But take heart, because to be willing not to run away from this edge, we will find it leads us to use everything, including greed, hatred, and delusion, without expressing these three poisons to the detriment of ourselves and others. And my sense is that until we meet this edge without trying to run away, we are likely to remain dazzled by what I'll now call our ego. However, we do find, and we will find, we all can find the courage to remain at this edge. And then we are offered the possibility to realize the need to go beneath our convictions and stories. We will find we've been fortunate enough even to meet the hard core of self-orientation. This really is the hard core. We come back to that again and again if we're looking with open eyes. And it's distressing to see, because it's somehow revealed in the starkness of its self-importance and or self-pity, really acknowledging how self-oriented we are. We can become aware of opportunity after opportunity to free ourselves from appearances. To go back to Bodhidharma, who teaches that detachment is enlightenment because it negates appearances. He goes on to say, every suffering is a Buddha seed because it impels us to seek wisdom. Your body and mind are the field. Suffering is the seed, wisdom the sprout, and Buddhahood the gain. Don't hate life and death or love life and death. Keep your every thought free of delusion. And in life you will find and begin to witness the beginning of nirvana. And in death you will experience the assurance of no rebirth. So let's listen to him, remain impartial. And those who perceive the external appearances of phenomena are at that mercy, are at their mercy. When you know how to look at form, and form does not give rise then to thought. That's if you know how to look at form. Also thought need not give rise to form. Form and thought are thus both pure. As we sing in the scripture of great wisdom, void, unstained and pure. Bodhidharma says, there is no language that isn't the Dharma. Language is essentially free. It has nothing to do with attachment. I found these words brought me up short. They made me consider my speech and why at times I speak from the sense of another's reaction to what I've said. Then it would have been better to be silent. And I asked myself questions such as these. What impelled me to speak? Was it because I felt some sort of social expectation to converse? Or was it because I wanted to offload some uncomfortable feeling to someone who I thought would kind of side with me? Or what was it? Was I wanting to interest or amuse, etc., etc., etc.? And then I wondered, are these instances of speech tied to appearances? Therefore, did that mean my speech was not free because there was attachment to outcome? And then I began to think something about relationships, because they certainly can challenge who we think we are. How do we keep a real commitment to others? Is it ever the case that we feel completely comfortable with others? I don't know the answer to that. Maybe and sometimes we do and sometimes we don't. And wondered whether those, even in our tradition, are quite attracted to the life of a hermit, because you don't have to interact with others. And surely, at the heart of a truly satisfactory spiritual relationship, there is mutual, reciprocal trust and faith, empathy, goodwill, compassion for all that is fostered when you can wish your own small, frightened self, when you can wish it well and recognize its greed, hatred, and delusion without condemning it. If you can do that for yourself, you can do that for others. So, to return to what Bodhidharma said, detachment and freedom from appearances. Consider that reality has no high and low. If you see high or low, it isn't real. According to the world, there are opposites such as female and male, rich or poor. According to the way, there is no female or male, no rich or poor. Somehow This reminds me of Dogen, who says one thing and then turns around and says the other. It came from Bodhidharma. Bodhidharma was so influential in our practice. Bodhidharma says, when you see no appearances, you see the Buddha. And I think this is what Bodhidharma meant by being free from appearances. Due to our diligent practice, we liberate Buddhas, and Buddhas liberate us. This is what Dogen describes as the circle of the way, and it seems to me it means to be impartial. We liberate Buddhas because affliction creates awareness, and Buddhas liberate us because awareness negates affliction. Buddhas don't become Buddhas on their own. They are liberated by us humans. Bodhidharma says our endless sufferings are the root of illnesses. When we are alive, we worry about our death. When we are full, we worry about hunger. This is our great uncertainty. So don't consider the past. Don't worry about the future, and don't cling to the present. Be detached and free from appearances. So just to remind those who are not here that there will be the Bodhidharma festival, and I think it's at the beginning of July, that festival weekend. So for any of the congregation who are listening, if you have any comments or questions, do feel free to let me know, and let me know at my email address, leandra@throssel.org.uk, not through the blog, please. So that's all for today. Thank you.